Alright, this video is going to help us make really nice tables. I thought I had done this before, but well, I apparently have not. So this is a LIS printout. It's for a couple of students' honors project at the University of Akron about strength training in women. And so I've already done a centroid and hand rotation, ended up with 2 factors, and it's time to make some tables. So if we scroll down, right, the first thing of importance, more or less, is our factor loadings. And so here we can see all of our loadings. They had quite a few participants in this study, a little more than normal, but it still helped make it interesting, I think. So here we have a page break, so I'm going to start here by copying these. I already have an Excel spreadsheet all set up, and in this particular case, this is the file that you can download off of my academia.edu site. And so here I have this set up as a table already in that Excel file, but here I'm just going to paste that information. It just helps me because there's going to be, if we kind of go back here and look, you notice that it has both sets of numbers, and I don't necessarily want, right, 2 sets of, the sorter ID doesn't have anything, it's just the number. So I'm going to go into my Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to start off just pasting this information kind of off to the side, and I can do that by not just pasting, because that doesn't lead to what we want. So we're going to go to Use Text Import Wizard, and here we can see our information. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the fixed width, because that works out really well with our LIS file data. And now I can go to next, just making sure that each one is set up. So I'm going to have 4 distinct columns that appear in my spreadsheet. I could do some other things to it, but I don't care because I just went it into the Excel spreadsheet, and I'll kind of go from there, right? And then I'm going to hit fixed or finish, and there's my information. So I can just come in here, get my first set of information. Well, here, you know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down. I'll get the rest of it, and I'll put it all in all at once. So now I'm going to go back to my LIS file here and scroll down, because we still have some more sorters. You notice that eventually the sort number and right, the 2 numbers don't mesh up, and that's only because we realized that we had a couple of participants who were not at least 18, and so we had to take them out. So that is why there's kind of this discrepancy. So I'm going to copy again. I'm going to go back into my spreadsheet, go back to paste, and use Import Text Wizard. I'm going to do the exact same thing again, fixed width. Next, making sure everything looks copacetic, and then finish. And now I can go in, and because I have this discrepancy, I'm just gonna I'm gonna actually put all this information in my file, and you'll see that. All right, so I'm gonna I'm gonna highlight all of these, hit copy, and then I'm going to go to my table, and I'm just going to come in here, and I'm going to paste using values, so then it automatically uses the formatting that I have. But you notice that outside my table, it's not looking quite so pretty. So they're all Times New Roman, right? And so I can do that, and then make sure that they're all 12, and then they're all centered. Oops. And centered. Oops. Centered. There we go. And you also notice that I have this line here. That's because my tables are usually much shorter, so I can go to Format, go to Format Cells, go to Border, and now I can take this out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one to the end so that it's an APA kind of table. I don't have a factor 3, right? So I can just go down and just do control down and get rid of all of that. So here is my table, so I could call this sort number, right? Or sorter, right? And then ID, and I can, because it's Excel, I can change the width of my various things. I can make this also narrower if I wanted to. I could use the text wrap. There are other things. Notice also that here, the default for the LIS file, I have 4 decimal places, but then for these that are actually numbers, so they're treated as numbers, these, right, actually have 4 decimal places, but they're only showing 2. Again, that's a default kind of thing in Excel. So I can come over here. I should be able to just highlight them all and make them have more numbers. I don't remember if it will let me do this. Oh, yes it will. And then I can make these have, whoops, wrong way, 4 decimal places to match. I could also go in, sometimes I just truncate these as well. I can go in and make the ones with X's also highlighted. Sometimes that's a nice way of helping show where, right, these people were identified. Typically, I don't use, especially with so many sorters, this in a publication. I wouldn't use this table in a publication. For an honors project, I probably would, only because, right, the idea is to communicate probably some rather novel ideas to a unique audience of people in the honors college who wouldn't necessarily be knowledgeable about Q. So I'm just going to save this. I already set this up. I don't have the Q sample in here yet. That's going to be important. And I'm going to just go in here, and here are the statements that the students gave me. There are 44 of them, so I'm just going to copy these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my spreadsheet, which I usually use this for printing out my statements. Just makes it a lot easier. And then I can just paste as values so that it automatically has the same formatting. And then I'm just going to set this up so that just one less thing to have outside of my spreadsheet. So control copy, control paste are very handy, although for the most part, as you can see, I use special pasting because it just makes my life easier. So we've done the factor scores, and now we could do representative sorts. Sometimes what we do is we come in and we find the 5 most like and most unlike statements, or however the grid was set up. And that's a relatively easy thing to do, again, directly from our LIS file. So we could come in here. And I don't do this quite as much as I used to. I used to do this a lot more often, but now I usually actually include the factor array. But so 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to use the 4 because the grid was rectangular and there were 4 under -5 all the way to +5. It was just, right? So I can, again, highlight, copy these. These are the top 4. And then go into, I can close this now, go into here, and these are just going to be the top 5. But instead of pasting it in here, you notice that there's some extraneous information, so I'm going to come in here And I'm going to use text import wizard again. I'm going to do the fixed width because that seems to work out the best, just like the other stuff. And so here, you notice that some of the text for the statements have been truncated, and that's just part of the PQMethod program. And then I have the position, or sorry, the number twice, and then it actually gives me the z-score instead of the position. But that's fine. And so I'm going to finish this. And so I can just come in here, do 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Whoop. Oh no, that's what I want to do. Undo. Copy. And then I'm going to paste it in here. I'm going to show you a neat little trick. So there's my values, right? And I can center them and center them. And so some of these, right, are truncated. And there's some interesting things from copy and paste, right? This one's pretty easy. So I could just copy number 8 and put that in here. And certainly I could finish the others by, you know, doing something really unfun, like retyping them. But there's no need to do that because technology is our friend as long as we treat him well. So I'm going to go into, this is why I wanted to paste my Q sample in here. So now I can come over here to number 9, right? And so there's the whole thing. So I can just highlight it. So I don't have to retype anything because I don't want to. Because I just don't want to. And now I come in there and voila. And then I could go to 21, which also got truncated. And so that's a little farther down. Right. This ends up being actually a consensus statement. But now I'm going to go back to representative sorts and just paste this in. And I can do like I did the others here, and I'm going to, I'll just make them all centered and centered because I just like that. And these are all 4s. And then I'm going to go pick up the negative ones off of this same LIS file. So now I got to scroll down and I have to be careful because sometimes they get truncated. See, I have one statement right here, number 4, and here I'm just gonna cheat and highlight this. Just control copy. Done a lot of these, so I get pretty. So these are all -4. And I could just, right, I could just go and then do Control D, Control down. And so this is statement 4. And then I know what, I just copied and pasted this, so I'm just going to do that. And so that leaves me the other 3 to pick up. And that's these. So I have 1, 2, 3. Control copy. And I'm just going to come back in here and do kind of like I did before. I'm going to line them up over here just because it just makes my life easier. I don't know. And then once again, fixed width. Next. Looks like everything's copacetic. And now I can 1, 2, 3, control copy. Come in here. Paste as a value so I don't have to worry about formatting. I could come in here, right, and also, and I'll know right away, right, right, so I have these 2 fit right in here. Oh, number 33 got some really interesting things from copying and pasting out of Word. So I will just come over here and highlight this. Control copy, Control C, and then go back in here and we're going to ditch this and we're going to just put that nice statement right in there. And now again, I can also go in and make my table APA. Right? So I can come down to format cells and put a little border at the bottom. And now I have a beautiful table. Right? So these are table, right, top 4. And so if I wanted to copy and paste this into a document, right, I'll just, right, so we'll pretend that I have made my paper, and now I'm ready to go in, so I'm just going to open up a blank page. I could just paste this as a picture, right? But then if you're sending this to, for instance, right, a journal, they won't like that. And so I can use destination styles, don't want to do that. I could link. That just means that if I change something in my Excel spreadsheet, it will automatically change it here. Right? Again, use destination formatting, so, right, and then that's just hideous. So usually I do link and keep source formatting. And so there I have, right, my beautiful table. I can do the same thing, although it's going to be much messier for my factor scores, because I would be highlighting and pasting a very large table, but that doesn't really matter, right? Again, I can just go in, right? I might need to tweak this a little bit because my title is off a little. There we go. Right, so I can just go down. I could just show an example, perhaps, of what this looks like if I didn't want to have the whole, right, kit and caboodle, in which case I could stop here and just do Control Copy, go into my Word document again, right, doing the keep formatting, right. There's also some special, right, as an object, which is just a picture unformatted, and some other things like that. But again, I usually go in and use this link and keep the formatting style because you want it to be able, you want to be able to have the publisher do things to such a file, right? They might want to change how it appears in the document when they're typesetting it, and so these are the kinds of things you have to be cognizant of when you're doing this. And I can do this for every table in here. So notice that I had the correlations, right? Well, I can just copy, right? I can just copy this right out of here. I don't have to do anything fancy, right? And up here, right? I can just go in and again, I could do the same thing where I can change how many decimal places I have. Right? Make it 3. I probably would make them all 3 if I did something like that. Again, right, don't need this, don't need this, right? So I can just, and there's my nice little correlation table. Again, just like the others, I can just go in and copy, right, and then go into my Word document and just paste it, right, with my special LinkedIn formatting. And that's pretty much all there is to taking data from the LIS file and putting it into Excel. Excel just makes it a little easier to make tables, I think, and especially because we can change the number formatting and some other things like that. I love Excel, so I just think it's much easier, and then of course very easy to copy and paste into a Word document. And that's pretty much all there is involved in making tables from the LIS file.